Everyone thinks we're holding hands as we come across the beach almost, because we're landing side by side. There are massive gaps between each beach. Okay, now, before I tell you what went on here, and plenty did, I just want to run through how did the Germans lay out 1,700 miles of defences. Because before I moved to Germany, this is how I thought they did it. I'm stood in the sea and this line is depicting a strip of French coast. I thought the Germans built a bunker. Then 100 yards later, another 50 yards later, another 200 yards later, another. And I assume the Germans just built the bunkers in a thin belt along the coast. It is not the case. What I'm going to run through with you now, and this will be in the exam at the end of the day, it is called a Widerstand nest. And the English translation for that German word is resistance nest. I am stood in the sea, and this line is depicting a massive barbed wire entanglement. Now, every Widerstand nest is different, so I'm just going to draw you Mr. Average with no embellishment. Now, we'll say the barbed wire is 7 feet high and 10 feet deep. We'll say this Widerstand nest is 250 yards deep and 500 yards wide. What do you think these are pertaining to be going all the way around the outside of the barbed wire? Any guesses? Landmines. So it will be a mixture of anti-tank and anti-personnel mines dependent upon the ground that the Germans are trying to defend. And what it does is stops you getting through their barbed wire. Okay, then on the inside of the barbed wire but facing outwards will be half a dozen of these. They're called lance flams. They're fixed flamethrowers. At the flick of the electric switch from inside a bunker, 70 feet of liquid flame will shoot out the end of it for 20 seconds and roast an Allied soldier alive. So about half a dozen of those within a Widerstand nest. Then, within the Widerstand nest, you'll have gun casements. A gun casement is an enclosed bunker capable of housing an artillery piece. So, I'm going to put a gun casement here with a German 88mm gun facing along the beach that way. Over here I'll have two more smaller gun casements but with captured Russian artillery pieces in, 76.2mm, and they're facing along the beach, that way. Then you might have a couple of these, open gun positions. There's one of these where that nearest lot of flags are. Now I'm going to put an open position at the rear with the weapon facing inland. Why on earth do the Germans need weapons facing inland? Because a Widerstand nest is supposed to hold out for 24 hours even if surrounded. If they can bog us close to the beach, bog us down close to the beach for 24 hours, they can then rush in fresh divisions and attempt to push us into the sea. But it means they need all-round defence. I'm going to put another open gun position here with the weapon predominantly facing along the beach that way, and then I'm going to have one of these, a bunker with a tank turret fitted on top of it, and the tank turret again is from an occupied country. So there's the bunker, there's the tank turret, there's a protective wall, which means it can fire that way, and it can fire that way. Now, does anybody notice anything unusual about the direction of all the guns? To the sides. Where's the attack coming from? Straight on. Right, there's several reasons for that. The first is the calibre, the size of guns in this Widerstand nest, they're not capable of hitting your invasion armada. In the American sector, it's 11 miles off Utah and 30 miles off Omaha. The British and Canadians, 7 to 9 miles. But, make no mistake, if the Germans build the bunker with the aperture facing out like that, the guns on those ships can fire straight into the aperture of them and knock them out. So as an example, if the Germans build the gun casement facing along the beach, and there's the gun sticking out, then they build a 6 foot thick reinforced concrete wall on the seaward side, then they pile up 30 feet of sand in front of that and plant the grasses in the sand, how are we going to see them and how are we going to knock them out with naval firepower? And the answer is quite simple. You're not. Which means when the landing craft doors go down, every single German artillery piece will open fire. The next reason is more significant, and it's the reason I get Annie to go down causeway number 4, and it's this. I just need this little bit for a minute. The next Widerstand nest might be 600 yards away, but it doesn't matter. If all their weapons face along the beach, then they can kill in between and in front of supporting Widerstand-nest. So it is interlocking fire and fire support. If you're under too much pressure in your Widerstand-nest, then you better get on the telephone to the others in your sector and tell them to pour everything into your frontage. So as fires driving down causeway number 4, yes, you got to see a causeway as it was. Yes.